Thinking of playing Iron Cross, man-to-man combat on the East Front? AFVs may be immobilized by woods hexes, that is, hexes with 2 or more tree symbols. When an AFV enters a woods, 2 dice are rolled. If the sum is greater than the number of trees in the hex, the AFV may continue moving. If it is equal to or less than the number of trees, the AFV must end its movement there. It is immobilized for the remainder of the game. It may not change facing, although it may still fire. All right, German moving fire phase. Again, the light machine gun, German light machine gun, Albrecht soldier, and Miksch rifleman are going to, so I'm declaring the attack. They together are going to try to engage the, and actually before I declare the attack, I want to review what mode I've put the light machine gun in. So I check my roster. Albrecht is LMG light machine gun for Squad Charlie. So I go to German crew ammo roster right here, LMG Charlie. Yeah, he's in spray fire. That's what I was wondering. That's the one I changed to spray fire. So what I'm wondering is, do I mix the LMG in spray fire with the rifleman? Actually, the other thing is, can a light machine gun in spray fire mode even fire in the moving fire phase? Okay, I mentioned this before, and it's still true. The light machine gun, this in spray fire mode, that only applies to hexes that are on the same level. Those Russian infantrymen are up 1 level, so that doesn't apply. Also, I don't think that spray fire mode can be used during the moving fire phase, just because it's not specifically mentioned. Other phases are mentioned, but not the moving fire phase for spray fire mode. Okay, I'm not going to go through the very low chance attack of Miksch. You know, it's interesting. Sometimes, think off the top of my head, sometimes it might be worth it to take a low chance shot to gain observation of the target hex. I'll leave things the way they are. Okay, so that's it for the moving fire phase, phase 6. Next we'd move to phase 7, the assault phase. And let me see, 1, 2, 3, okay. Still not going to remove the movement markers yet. Obviously we don't have any assaults. So then let's just move to step 8, which is the free up-down state unit change. I'm going to go ahead and review this, and I'm going to remove the Russian move markers, because now we are 1, 2, 3. Yeah, oh, wait a minute. This isn't a phase. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay. First I'll do free up-down state unit change, then I'll remove the Russian move markers, because the next phase that the movement markers would matter is the next support fire phase, which is Russian anyways, but then we're beyond 3 phases after the. This is hard to explain with voice only, but basically there are a lot of checks whether a unit stack has moved within the previous 3 phases, again always skipping the morale phase, or whether a unit stack has fired in the preceding 3 phases, skipping the morale phase. Okay, with regard to the free up-down state change step, both players are doing this. Each player, phasing player first, may change the up-down states of any of his units within the restrictions. And I think, this is no cost of movement points, obviously. And obviously, as you would imagine, only normal status units, can change voluntarily. Okay, all right, so phasing player first, so I'll check the German, whether The German player wants to change any of their up-down states, and then the Russians. So the phasing player, the German player, didn't have any to change, but I am looking at the Russians. And I find this interesting. Let me first get the easy one out of the way. Well, actually, these are... Well, I said I would do that afterwards. What I find interesting... Yeah, these guys are just behind here. Not really in the fight, and so I thought it just made sense to put them in the down posture. I mean, this scenario doesn't have indirect fire, but if there was indirect fire, it would seem to be a good idea, right? So that's voluntary, no-cost state change. Now over here, we've got two teams in the open. Well, are they in the open or are they in tree? Well, okay, he's in woods, and he's in a clear hex with a tree. Two teams there. What I find interesting is that I might as well not only well, so basically we're going to the Russian player turn next. The Russian player is going to have support by, I keep wanting to say support by fire, support fire phase, and then a movement phase. So it seems that, well, yeah, okay, in the movement phase they'll be subject to opportunity fire, but they might as well, the point is if they want to cover as much ground as possible, maybe from these woods to these woods, yeah, let's say that's what they want to do, it makes sense to take the free state change now when they're not going to be subject to any German reaction whatsoever, so that when they get to their movement phase, they can move full bore towards the woods, taking opportunity fire, of course. I just find that interesting, instead of having to wait for the movement phase and spending 2 movement points to change their state. I don't know, just interesting. Okay, I think these guys, yeah, these guys are already up. So that's all for the state changes. So then I'll remove the markers, and see, some of these fired markers, like this, the machine gun here. All right, so this is what I'm doing. The next time that the Soviets can fire on the Germans is during the... I wonder if you would count... Yeah, no, I guess it is. I guess it is during the reaction movement phase. In any case, 1, 2, 3. In any case, it's well beyond. So this machine gun fired in the second phase. So that's we are well past that. These ones fired in the phase 6, which is only the moving fire phase before, so when does that matter? That matters, oh no, look, no. This matter, I mean, this is still in effect, because what it means, this is what I'm trying to explain what I'm looking at. All right, we're not in a phase, right? We're in this step here, but we're going to go to the Russian player turn, the dual morale phase, but it's the morale phase during the Russian turn. Then we're going to go to support fire, which is going to be Russian support fire. So when the Russians are firing their support fire phase, when they do attempt observation, if a German unit has fired, it's going to have a DRM if it's in the previous 3 phases. Skip the morale phase, assault, moving fire, defensive fire. Whoops. All right, I can't stay on the camera, but all right, this is getting frustrating. When we get to the Russians' support fire, they, like these Russians here, when they want to observe the Germans here, this fire took place basically at the end of the German turn, not the extreme end, but the last firing phase. Basically, it's the last firing. No, that doesn't help either. Well, it's the 6th phase. No, that doesn't help either. It's within 3 phases of when the Russians are doing support fire. So that one stays on. I don't know how else to put it. This is why markers that say, like this is fire during the support fire phase. And it's support, as a matter of fact, it probably should be, yes, as a matter of fact, it needs to be turn specific. So if the game were updated, I think that you would need fired during the Russian. No, that couldn't be. Yeah, German, not Russian, German. Fire during the German support fire phase. Or maybe you won't. Maybe you wouldn't need the player, but you would need fire during the support phase, because depending on which turn you're registering, you would know that it. So with this showing, and this is showing on my makeshift, you don't get a turn track, right? I'm using hexes on the side here, but if it says German player turn. If it says German player turn and a German unit is marked with my number 2, which should be one marker that says fired support fire phase, then you would know it's fired during the German support fire phase. Okay. But maybe just to go an extra step, do distinguish the player turns. I don't think it would hurt, actually. Okay, but this is well after as well. This is well after, what do you want to call it? Again, I tried to think of this before. It's no longer relevant at all. Okay. But you see, some are. Like, I just went through why that one's still relevant. Now, we still have a Russian one, because this is a dual. This is a, yeah, again, it's not a phase. Again, maybe there should be a marker phase here that you, yeah, maybe there should be a marker phase. All right, so I see the yellow marker, gold marker. I'm going to look at it. Okay, it's a fired marker, not a moved marker. Okay. Does it apply? What does it apply to? It applies, yeah, see, it applies to the 5th phase, which when is this next going to be relevant? This is next going to be relevant during the German yeah, see, this really wasn't, I don't think this was thought through at all, but hey, this is from 1990. See, if that's a medium machine gun, but let's just say it was a regular rifleman. That regular rifleman fired in the defensive fire phase of the German player turn. We're about to start the Russian player turn. In the Russian player turn, how did I miss this? He fired during the defensive fire. 1, 2, 3. So he would get to fire during the support fire phase, I guess. Yep, I'm just going to play it. I got to play through this. But in any case, this 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's why. All right, defensive fire phase is 5. 6 is moving fire phase. 7 is assault. Skip morale. The support fire phase. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, support fire phase. So in the support fire phase, which is going to be a Russian support fire phase, There is no German fire during the second phase. Okay. So this is also not relevant. I know there's probably a pattern here. Is there a pattern? If you shoot during the moving fire phase, like the Germans I looked at before, then he goes back here. Oh, I'm going to take advantage of that. Yeah, I want to take advantage of that state change. There's probably a pattern. If you fire during the moving fire phase, then you have to keep your marker over the player turn change. And there are probably a few other patterns. Boy, this 3 phases. Eek.